Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Abstract Essay, where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He is executive coach and neuromanagement expert, as well as an author, no other than Mr. Carlos Davidovich. Welcome to Abstract Essay once again, Mr. Carlos, and thank you so much for being part.
Yes. No, thanks for inviting me, Daniel. I mean, I love to be here and talk to you.
Yes, and can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
No, not necessarily. I also have a TED Talk, TEDx Talk, and working all over the world, I mean, with my coaching practice and introducing how the brain works in, let's say, organizations and business. That's what I mainly do. The way I advise my clients based on practical tips about how the brain works.
Practical tips. So today let's talk about stress management.
Excellent.
Tell us, what are some early warning signs that indicate someone might be experiencing unhealthy level of stress?
This is a great question, but I will start from another angle. I will start saying, in a very brief way, let's understand what exactly stress is, because stress has a very negative marketing. But the truth is that stress is a normal and physiological process in our body. Without everything that involves stress, I mean the reaction of stress, we will not able to live in this life. We will not able even to get out from the bed. So what I'm trying to say is stress is normal. What we call normally stress is when there is an excess of all those components and we are not able to manage it anymore. What I'm trying to say is the stress moves like a bell curve. So if we have low level of stress, we do nothing. If we have the normal or the healthy level of stress, we can manage our life. If we don't understand when we are getting too much stress, then we can end in a burnout syndrome, or we can, or even in a panic attack and all this stuff. Going back to your question, and why I say this, because there is a fantastic study that shows that if you believe that stress is not good, you increase your probability of being not good. So it's important to understand that stress is normal and that we need to learn how to manage. Going back to your question about what are the early signs that stress is getting too high in our body, first of all, it's quite personal. I mean, there are the list of stressors and the list of reaction from the body is endless. People can get just inner, let's say, I would say anxiety that is connected with stress, can start feeling tired, too tired, can start feeling that it's not managing the information as before, so that the brain is not able to run at a pace that you can manage the information. So the best way to define stress for me, there are many ways, okay, Daniel? The best way for me is when you feel out of control, when you feel you're not in your center. And again, that can be expressed in many ways: headache, pain, tickles in the body. There are many ways. I don't want to go to the long list. But in one moment, you're not comfortable and you feel your lack of control. You're not in control. In that moment, you need to start thinking if what you're doing is too much to handle, and then maybe you need to revise and check what you're doing in that moment. Makes sense?
Makes sense, Mr. David. And how about, are there differences in how stress manifests between individuals, such as across age, gender, and culture?
I will say that the difference is mainly about I will focus on the cultural thing. What I mean is there are differences in gender. The answer is yes, but I would like mainly to focus on cultural things. In certain culture, it's more acceptable that you should be not overstressed. The technical term is distress.
Hmm,
In certain culture, let's call it Eastern culture, to be relaxed, to really be calm is an asset. In Western culture, now is becoming more and more an asset, but if you're not in a hurry and if you are not running, something is wrong with you. You know what I mean? So this is a cultural thing that is pushing people to be even more overstressed. Make sense?
makes
So
sense.
those are the things that we need to take care of. Now, in the Western world, we are talking a lot about meditation, mindfulness, and I love that. But still, the I will say the wrong approach is if you are not moving all day and you are not really tired and exhausted, something is wrong. You didn't do enough. This is the cultural pressure that we have in Western world, and
Mhm.
that leads to stress in one way or the other.
Interesting indeed, Mr. Carlos. And how about, what simple everyday practice can help reduce stress quickly?
That is a great question. I will I will share with you some of the basic things that we should know. When I talk about stress, I bring the wrong concept of time management. Time management is a very known concept. I think that everyone in one moment of their life, they went through time management training. And that is the wrong target. That is a mistake. Human being cannot manage time. So forget it. It doesn't exist time management as a real approach. What the body does, and we need to learn more and more to deal with the normal level of stress, is energy management. The body is all the time, even though it's a terminology for that called allostasis, is when the body is managing energy to be able to save energy in the right way, but also managing energy. And if we feel with more energy, we do more. And if we feel with less energy, we should do less. So the goal of managing stress is learning how to manage better and balance better our energy. And this is not a touchy feely stuff, these are facts. And I will give you two different, I would say two practical tips. It's okay, Daniel, just
Yes, go
ask
ahead.
me if you want, okay?
Go ahead, Mr. Carlos.
One thing that is easy to learn for everyone is that the body has daily cycles. So daily timing, that when the body will have more energy or less energy. During the day, we have two cycles. One is longer than the other. One of the cycle is called circadian cycle. Doesn't matter the technical name. And that means to feel most of the people, not everyone, I will clarify later, a lot of energy in the morning, low level of energy at noon, and then there is a peak of energy in the afternoon. This is the circadian rhythm. With this rhythm, if we understand and we accept this normal functioning of the body, we need to know that at noon, between 12 and 2, more or less, is the moment that we need to stop demanding our brain and our body regarding with effort. Is the moment that we need to charge battery. So normally we go for lunch or we take a rest. Certain culture, we have the siesta, and that's no by chance, I mean, this has a reason behind. This is the cycle number one. Are we okay, Daniel, so far?
Yes, go ahead, mister.
The cycle number two is shorter, and it's called technically ultradian cycle. And this cycle is also known as the 90-20 cycle. What we don't know consciously, but we know practically, is the brain every 90 to 120 minutes will stop working, will just close the business in the brain, and for 15 minutes, between 15 and 20, will do a completely different activity. Those are the typical moments, Luca, Daniel, when we say, gosh, we're reading something and we need to read it again and again and again. And we say, what's going on with me? I don't understand. No. In that moment, the brain decided just to stop helping or thinking because it has to do a different work.
Mm-hmm.
A work that we didn't know what it was until now, and that we need to learn because we need to respect it. During those times that we call resting time, or let's say blocking time for the brain, what the brain does is the same that clicking save in the computer, is organizing the information that we were dealing with during the active time and putting different files in our brain. If the brain doesn't have those stops, again, every, let's say, 100 minutes during the day, the brain will be doing two jobs at the same time, and that will create a state of stress, to say the least, overstress, or even worse. So we need to learn how to help our brain to recover. Make sense?
Makes sense, Mr. Carlos. And can you share some breathing techniques or exercise that listeners or viewers can practice right now to relieve stress?
One thing is just as simple as observing our breathing. I don't like to complicate things. The most known technique of breathing that is easy to do is called the square breathing. So it's like let's say, imagining a square, and you count until 4 to inspire, to wait, and to expire. And then you go around again and again and again. That is the way to calm the system, acts over a very, very known system in the body called the nerve. A nerve that is a special nerve, is the longest nerve, called the vague, VAGUE.
Mm.
That is the one that will help us to be relaxed. So the square breathing is counting till 4 for inspire, waiting 4 seconds, doing nothing, expiring on 4, waiting 4 seconds, doing nothing. This is a very practical one. Another,
Practical.
okay, sorry, go
Another
ahead,
one.
Daniel.
Another one, Mr. Carlos, tell us.
Another one that also works in anxiety, because many times they are connected at the moment that the stress will trigger anxiety in many of us. And it's useful to know that anxiety cannot be in our body if we can focus on the present time. Anxiety only can be triggered when we are thinking in a negative way about our past, or in a negative way about our future. If we can keep ourselves focused and concentrated in the here and now, we reduce the level of anxiety, we reduce the level of stress. Then another practical tip is the rule of 5. The rule of 5 is based on the 5 senses. And again, it's very simple. And I love it because it's very proactive and you need to do something with your head in a very practical way and very simple. You can practice this anywhere, many times as you want, and always works. It works in this way. Step number 1, if I feel stressed or anxious, many times they are combined, let's say, they are together, they go together. Stop everything you're doing and start saying to yourself, if you're with people around, or say it out loud if you're alone, 5 things that you can see around you. I can see the computer at this moment. I can see a book at the side. I can see my cell phone. So it's bringing yourself to the moment that you are there. You can do it fast, you can do it slower, but always works. Then you move to touch. 4 things that are touching you. In this moment, my clothing, I'm standing up so I can feel my foot in the floor. Then you move to 3 things, 3 sounds that are in that moment, in that place. If you pay attention, always there is sound. All this effort on things that are around you will bring you to the present time. And not in a magical way. This is how the brain works. Anxiety and stress will come down, will go down. Then you move to 2 things. You think 2 things that you can taste and 1 thing that you can smell. So some people say, I'm not good in identifying taste and smell. I say, okay, don't worry. Then keep yourself in the 3 first, in seeing, in touching, and in sound. Make sense? Are we okay, Daniel? It's too much info.
Makes sense. Makes sense, Mr. Carlos. And thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you for those tips. And can you explain the science behind what happens to our brain and body when we are under stress?
What normally happens is like to run a car at high speed for too long. The engine cannot take it for too long. I mean, nowadays cars are amazing, you know that.
Yes.
But even though in United States, no, I will give another image that maybe will not be very easy to understand in United States because in United States they are automatic engines, right? I mean, automatic car.
Yeah.
But if you think in a car with gears, we say in Europe it's like running too fast in first gear. The engine will be under pressure too much, and in some moment will just break down. So what I want to say is, go back to the concept of managing energy. Write down situations that you feel that you are gaining energy. How to know that? Very simple. Situations in life, people that you know, actions that you can do, places that you can go, that you feel good. When you feel good, you are charging battery. And try to avoid, when you are under a lot of pressure, those situations, those people, those activity that are draining energy from you. How do I know I'm draining energy? First of all, because I don't feel good and I'm getting tired at a fast speed. I don't know if I'm responding your question, Daniel.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that analogy, and we understand fully. And why do people often fail to recognize their own stress until it becomes overwhelming?
Do you know how to cook a frog?
Of course, Mr. Carlos, and tell us how to cook a frog in your version.
In my version, there are two conditions. You put the frog in a pot with cold water and you start warming up very, very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And the frog cannot sense the difference of temperature until it's too late. It's exactly the same analogy with our body. We have a plan for the day. We have my agenda already full with activity. So I distribute it in a way that I can manage. I come to work or I start working if it's from home, and then I start adding more things and adding more things. And my boss is calling me, say, hey, there is another meeting, but it was not in my agenda. You need to be there. And we don't know how to say no. So we start heating up temperature, and without knowing in one moment we are already cooked or burned out. Makes sense what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is be mindful regarding the amount of activity you do during the day. Be mindful how much that is impacting your emotions. Don't feel that you should do everything now, because that is absolutely insane. So
Mm.
what I'm trying to say is, can everybody manage their stress? It's quite complicated for many people, but at least start being aware that we are doing too much in a very short period of time, and that will lead to stress, yes or yes.
Mr. Carlos, as a executive coach and neuromanagement expert, as well as an author, what are your short term and long term goals?
Short term, long, okay. I mean, everything. I mean, I say is because my background is medicine. I mean, that's why I can say it with kind of a foundation. So I studied a lot of. I mean, I work as a medical doctor, but then I went to business and I started observing that there is a lack of, I would say, knowledge that can help a lot of people to be in a very healthy and healthy place. Going back to your question, you ask my short-term goals. That was your question, Daniel?
Yes, Mr. Carlos, yes.
My short-term goal will be, I will say, to reach to reach more people with all this information. My short-term goals is to be able to really support people in their struggling in their daily life. I mean, I'm just one person, so what I do is to help people mainly one by one on small groups. But I really want to grow on this, and I think I'm doing it. And at the same time, to become a good example with my life. Far away from a perfect life, so I try to just to transmit what I experience. Short-term goals is to be more mindful of myself as soon as I can.
Good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success, Mr. Carlos. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Say again, please.
What would be your piece of advice for those people out
Okay.
there want to be like you?
Be mindful that the only thing we have is our body and our brain to work with. Those are the devices that we have in this life. Be mindful to take care of them, because even though they are amazing, they cannot deal with everything. Don't play that you have we have superpower, but in a different way. Don't play that we can do everything all the time, and don't push too far.
Hmm.
So be mindful when you need to stop, to recharge, and then go back to whatever you do. In our Western culture, there is a lot of, I will say, pressure on just I would say doing as much as I can in the shortest period of time. That is the wrong formula.
Very wrong indeed. And Mr. Carlos, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love letters in its third season, and my book 101 and my movie 101 review and music 101 in fourth season, and science 101 and sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Carlos, if someone listening feels overwhelmed right now, what is the very first step you'd recommend they take to regain balance?
Stop doing what you're doing. You will get nervous, then go for a walk. But stop is the first thing you need to do. And stopping, you will get more anxious because you think, I cannot do what I need to do. That's the first step to analyze how much I'm doing that is not helping me. Stop and think. I will say, evaluate what you're doing and make it reasonable and realistic. All of us, we are under a lot of pressure that is not realistic, and we cannot do it.
Yes, definitely, Mr. Carlos Davidovich. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your book, or whatever projects that you're doing right now? Mr. Carlos?
Thanks a lot, Daniel, for inviting me, and it was a fantastic conversation, as always.
Yes, so where do people buy your book, Mr. Carlos?
Everywhere, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, you can get my book, no problem, and you can visit me and write to me. I always respond in my website, www.carlosdavidovich.com, or find me in LinkedIn. That is also the social media I use the most.
Yes. Yes, people, let's support Mr. Carlos, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering books to come, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. Carlos, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, and thanks to you, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.